Owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles, we are here for another installment of MegaMagic News! You know what, I did the last news video I didn't put it in the title, I didn't call it that, and I got comments going, yo, why wasn't this called MegaMagic News? And I said, I don't know. So I resolved that the next time I would do it, not only would I say the name, but I would also waste your time by talking about this. So, we've got a lot of stuff. We can't afford to waste any more time than we're wasting right now. Let's dive into this magnificent list of, don't try and read it. You wait until I tell you. You're here to listen to me run my mouth. That's what I'm doing here. This is a cult of personality I'm running. So, speaking of cults, hit the subscribe button, click the like, because that's what good cult members do. If you want the Kool-Aid that get you off this prison, if you want a sip of the Kool-Aid that's going to get you off of this prison of a planet, you will do as you are told. Okay, so speaking of getting off the planet, that kind of ties in to the MagicFest cancellation. MagicFest Turin has actually been fully canceled. I can't recall any sort of outbreak of anything causing these sort of things to happen in Magic's previous history, although admittedly, I didn't pay that much attention to what was going on in the Magic event scene before I started having a channel. So I wasn't really that in tune with GPs to begin with, and GPs are the precursor to the renamed MagicFest. But if you're wondering what's going on, MagicFest Turin has been fully canceled. The reason is, actually, you know what? I realize I can't say that because YouTube gets uppity if you talk about certain things in your videos and will hit you with the big old yellow symbol of sadness. So, let me change the kimono varuse. All right, hopefully you can figure out what that means, okay? They're talking about it a lot in the news around here and stuff, you know? And it leads to some people's lives not getting to continue anymore. It's all over the place. The kimonos are being spread by people coughing in each other's faces and stuff. Do you get it? Do you get it? Do you know what I mean when I say kimono varuse? Do you know what that means? Hopefully I've mangled it enough that there's no way for their auto speech detecting nonsense to figure it out. Actually, if you want to have a good laugh, all you have to do is watch one of my videos with the closed captions on, because half the stuff it thinks I'm saying is absolutely ridiculous. I love how off it is. So, MagicFest Turin has been fully canceled for health concerns, and that makes sense, honestly. I mean, I did touch on that in a video I previously made talking about kimonos, but that kimono video got deleted off the channel because there are other channels that have talked about the kimono varuse too much and had their entire channel like nailed permanently because of it. So, no. That's not happening to me. I'm not gonna, I'll probably catch the kimono, but I'm not gonna have my channel catch the kimono. You know what I'm saying? So that's the first bit of Mega Magic News. And the second bit is on Unsanctioned. We talked about the Unsanctioned set, and I did talk yesterday about people's concerns, but there is one funny little thing that I missed. The Unsanctioned box that the cards come in, if you sleeve the cards, they're too big for the box. They don't fit in it properly. Wizards made a product from, like, they make secret layers, right? And this is big enough to hold like a commander deck with sleeves and more. And then they turn around and make this unboxed set. And they're like, sleeves? What are sleeves? Sleeves? Is that French? I've never heard of sleeves. Oop, I got the kimono. I gotta go home. I'm not gonna worry about it. So, that's a minor little thing I wanted to throw in. Now, mystery boosters are coming pre-opened at PAX. How weird is that, right? You go, wait, what's going on? They're actually giving you the mystery boosters like pre-opened. Apparently what's going on is for the first booster pack, they're actually standing there and watching you open the booster packs and then giving you the rest of your packs for the event, but with the corner snipped off. Now, why would they do that, you must be wondering. Some of you probably already know the answer. But the reason is the insane secondary market demand for these booster packs. These booster packs actually each have a special test print card in them. And they're fun, silly little cards. But they're also exclusive to conventions. So to stop people from entering events and immediately dropping to keep the packs, because the amount you pay to play in the event is actually far cheaper than the amount of money you could sell the packs for. They are pre-opening either fully or partially mystery boosters to ensure that people can't sell them on the secondary market. Now, this does not affect the prize packs. So if you win prize packs, you're free to do what you want with them. They come fully sealed. But by having this little like corner snipped off, they essentially diminish the secondary market value of any of the packs you get for being in the events. And I can say, I mean, there's two ways to look at it. As a consumer, you could be like, look, this isn't fair. I'm buying this product from you. I should be able to do what I want with it. But on the other hand, they're trying to run particular events. And these mystery events fill up. Like, honestly, when it comes to the product, the mystery boosters are succeeding quite well. There's no doubt about it. The demand level is through the roof. Now, we will see if when these become available in the stores, if that diminishes it. Because there is only one minor variation between store versions of mystery boosters and conventions. And that is the specialized card that I mentioned, the playtest card, right? Those only exist in convention packs, and they will be replaced with a run of 121 different foils in the store version of mystery boosters. So it remains to be seen whether this is going to be a continual thing where they'll be required to open these mystery boosters, or if once mystery boosters are available in stores, that this will somewhat slacken the demand, because then it will only be the playtest cards that are unique. And at that point, they may not have to worry about opening the packs this way. So based on the sheer number of people who want to play in events, and you can see like there have been a number of events posted like on Reddit and things like that where they're talking about, look, man, I planned my whole weekend around this. This thing's all full up. So if events are getting filled up by people who aren't actually going to play and are just there to try and take the stuff and sell it on the secondhand market, I am not a fan of that. The secondary market is something that I understand exists with Magic the Gathering, but I think it's part of the ugly side of Magic and lends to the greed culture of the game, and I'm not a huge fan of the greed culture of the game. I'm perfectly fine with people having value for their cards and things like that, right? But there's a certain level where everything is eclipsed by value, and Magic goes from being a game to like an investment commodity, and for me, that takes away some of the beauty of the game when I started. So I'm definitely not a fan of that, and I can totally get behind trying to come up with a method where it goes, okay, how do we stop people from selling these on the second market, but not actually impact people's ability to play? And having the packs like somewhat pre-opened so that if you're trying to sell them on the secondhand market, people are gonna be like, no, you know what's in this pack. You can have scanned the packs, and I'm not gonna pay for an unsealed pack. Although some people might still be willing to pay one where the corner's cut off, but it really does impact the ability to sell them. So I can get behind that as someone who wants to see people play Magic. It was just interesting to note how much of an effect the mystery packs are actually having. The next point of news I have, there's been a lot of stuff going on this week in Magic, so I'm basically playing catch up here with some of this. There's the D&D Theros campaign setting. Now, I'm interested in this for a number of reasons. First, I'm actually a Dungeons & Dragons fan. I've loved Dungeons & Dragons longer than I love Magic the Gathering. It is a deep, rich game with a lot of lore, a lot of flavor, is thoroughly enjoyable. I actually have the Ravnica, the Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica or whatever. I have that, the little add-on map pack, and also the specialized dice that go with it. That's how deep I went. I'm like, we're going all the way. Balls in, right on the table. Put them on the wood, don't worry about splinters. That's how far I went in with Dungeons & Dragons, specifically with the Ravnica setup. And I like it because it gave me some glimpses into Ravnica. Either they flesh things out in the book or add in details I hadn't seen anywhere. Like I was able to learn more about Ravnican currency. In fact, I did a video specifically talking about Ravnican currency and things of that nature because I got that book. So with the situation with Theros, I don't know about you guys, but I find that we don't have a fully fleshed out experience this time. We're missing the main story of Theros, and there are other things that lead me to believe that Theros was kind of an abbreviated design cycle or something at Wizards, because there's a number of scenarios. We have first of all, the fact that we didn't get the book. They wrote the book, but kept it from us and just gave us a tiny little summary of it that was hastily scrawled out and was very, very unfulfilling. But on top of that, the secret layer that has the constellation gods in it, it seems to me to not actually originally have been intended to be created that way. I look at the constellation gods from those secret layers, and what I actually think happened is they were originally going to use them for Theros in some fashion. Most likely they were going to include them in collector boosters, right? Because they have that special showcase style. And if you take a look at the Throne of Eldraine Collector's Edition, they have that amazing style with the book, the storybook styling, and the amazing like vine frames. Those are so beautiful, and they have really nice alternate artworks. Those showcase cards were a home run to the point where regardless of whether a card was common, rare, mythic, I wanted them all because I found them beautiful and just worth having. They felt like collector's items. So we look at the Theros collector's packs, and there's only 10 showcase cards in them, right? You've got 5 demigods, the 5 regular gods. They didn't even bother to do Athreos in constellation style for that. And then other than that, the only other special arts are like the marble statue versions of the Planeswalkers. But we had alternate versions of the Planeswalkers in the Throne of Eldraine collector's packs as well. So it seems to me like the Theros constellation gods that are actually in the secret layers were intended to be a part of the Theros offering, most likely in collector's boosters. And the fact that when you look at the secret layer collector numbers, there's a huge gap between the layer of the rat and then the layer of the gods, right? There's 30 cards missing in between there, which means they had other layers planned and designed first that were essentially supposed to come out before these. I think what happened was they couldn't make Theros work the way that they wanted to. They had this extra constellation artwork, and they went ahead and said, you know what, let's make a secret layer for it. Let's get some money for it. Let's use what we've paid for. People will probably enjoy this and get a full set of the gods that way. I think they were probably originally going to put those gods in the collector boosters, because if they did, that would bring the number of showcase cards up to 25, which is much closer to Throne, which I believe had 30 of the showcase cards. Now, again, this is just a theory I can't prove, but I feel like the information points in that direction. And this all comes together to say to me that Theros didn't quite turn out the way they wanted to, didn't get amount of love and attention that it should have, and we are missing a fair bit from the story. So I'm wondering if the D&D Theros campaign setting is actually going to flesh that out for us. Is it just going to use the lore from the previous Theros block, essentially, and try and like monetize old content they've made into a brand new world concept? Or is it going to have a heavy bit of information from the state of Theros now? I'm interested in the D&D like supplement here because it may have a bunch of that information, but it may turn out to be a flop. In some ways, the Ravnica book was interesting, and in other ways, there was some stuff where I felt like there's just tiny little blurbs and I wanted more information. As a guy who talks about lore and flavor and all these different aspects of Magic, the more information I have, the better it feels. So for me, I'm definitely interested in seeing what this Theros campaign setting will turn out to be. Now, the final thing I want to talk about is a batch of things that specifically are premium. So starting with the Premium Championship Ikoria. Now, if you don't know what's going on, Wizards has recently read the winds of change, and they see that the writing is on the wall. The sad truth, and this does not make me happy, this is something that I wrestled with for a long time and gave me some serious unhappiness thinking about it, is the fact that LGSs are a dying breed. The day of the local game store is in the rear view mirror. We are enjoying the end of the golden age of LGSs. And that is, honestly, that's a subject for another video. It's really the fault of, it's not the fault of Wizards as much as people want to point at Wizards. In some ways, they may have done a few things to hasten it, but this is really in response to players. The players of the game, the purchasers of the game, the consumers are really the one that set the music for this dance. And all Wizards can do is decide how they're going to dance to it, right? That's the deal. So Wizards of the Coast isn't really to be blamed for LGSs going away when you take into account that Magic the Gathering has become very much driven by a greed culture, and people don't value LGSs the same way. They will happily buy everything away from LGSs. It just like they expect an LGS to be able to compete with Amazon, which is absolutely unheard of. So they don't value what an LGS brings to the table and want to pay the absolute minimum. So between Amazon and things like TCG Player taking over the singles market and Wizards entering the singles market. Although, admittedly, like I said, remember, this is Wizards reacting. I'm all for criticizing Wizards when they've done something wrong. I don't let them off the hook for things. However, upon reflecting on this, it's really the consumers. I've seen Magic players come up to someone at the counter of an LGS and say, no, don't buy that. You can get it $5 cheaper online. It's that sort of mentality that has created the scenario that we're in. So Wizards of the Coast has accepted the reality and has decided to focus most of their efforts on a premium grouping of stores. There are two categories of Magic stores now. There are premium and regular stores. The sad truth is that premium stores make up 5% of all LGSs. And I don't know exactly how many LGSs there are. I believe there's somewhere in the range of 2,000 to 3,000 LGSs. And with those numbers, if you take the high watermark of 3,000, 10% of that, that's 300. 5%, that's 150. So there's about 150 LGSs in the entire world that really matter to Wizards of the Coast now. And they are getting extra special treatment. We've already heard about them getting the special Commander Green booster packs, and they're going to get special, like, light up signs, a plaque to put on the wall. Like, they are getting full on treatment. So they will become the mega centers for Wizards, and all other stores will still have support. Wizards will still send out, like, you know, they'll send out the pre-release kits and do other things like that as long as the LGS exists. But slowly but surely, the LGSs are going to, they're going to collapse, and nothing's going to rise up to replace them. The reality will sink in, and there will be fewer and fewer people who want to run an LGS. I find that most people who want to run LGSs or own LGSs are people who've experienced the LGS. They enjoyed that sense of community, and they love Magic. So they want to continue that for the next generation. They want to be a part of that process. But as the LGSs become fewer and fewer, and more people turn to other avenues to get their Magic and play Magic, there will be fewer people who feel that fire kindled within them to create LGSs. Because let's be real, most LGSs aren't created by somebody who has a proper business plan, right? When it comes to starting a business, you can't just make whatever business you want and expect it to succeed. It doesn't work that way. There has to be a demand. There's a whole number of factors that go into having a successful business, but demand is a really big one. If there's no demand, you can't make any money. And if you can't make any money, you can only stay in business until you burn through the money that you have. And LGSs are created out of passion and desire, not a proper sense of reality. And that's not knocking people. You know what I mean? I get it. You want to chase your dream. You want to be a part of that magic. LGSs are really special to me, man. I came up in an LGS. If it wasn't for the LGS that I went to for 25 years, I wouldn't be here. I mean, I used to sweep the floors of the LGS just to get in the Magic tournaments. I get a little misty-eyed. You might even hear it in my voice right now. I get emotional when I think about LGSs going away. But I also have to be realistic and accept that this is the new reality. And slowly but surely, we are moving into a post-LGS world where most people will end up living in a place where there aren't LGSs. That's just the reality of it. I mean, if you look at the number in the first place, there's only a few thousand to begin with. So, give me a second to wipe a little bit of moisture out of an old man's eye for a time gone by. So, these premium stores are actually getting a few more interesting things that I thought I would talk about. The Premium Championship Ikoria, where it's a special championship event using Ikoria stuff, but it's only available to premium WPN locations. Then you've got the fact that Wizards is actually going to give these locations free secret layers, which is pretty crazy. And I'm sure some people will get up in arms and go, oh my God, if they sent these secret layers to all LGSs could survive. Like, you need to accept that LGSs and their business model, that's dinosaur level, okay? The star of extinction is up in the sky, and it is very slowly but inexorably moving towards the earth. And these dinosaurs, their days are numbered. There's not, like, I want to make this perfectly clear. And this is, again, something that I find a tragedy, but is reality, and I've had to accept it. There is nothing that can save the LGSs. It is not possible. Society has fundamentally shifted in regards to Magic the Gathering. We're there. Like, this kind of thing was something I worried about in the past. There's no point in worrying anymore. It's already happened. The best thing you can do is the Titanic's sinking, boys. Let's just play some music and dance, because that's all we can do, right? So the secret layers that are being sent out, bear in mind, each of these shops is only getting select secret layers and only one free copy as a reward to them. There you go. Here you go. Here's a secret layer you can use for prizes or whatever. And that's for stores that churn so much that they're able to survive in this new environment, right? These are the cream of the crop, the absolute best. That's why they're surviving. That's why they're getting this extra product. And the reality is there's no amount of secret layers you can send LGSs that will keep them alive. It just won't do it. And on top of that, they're actually, one of the things they're doing here that is something I feel like they could extend to more LGSs in a way to help them get into it. How it works with the premium program to become like a premium LGS, you have to get a number of tickets. There's these different metrics you have to hit, and tickets are basically like everyone who plays in one of your events equals a ticket. So if you have an FNM that fires off, that counts for 16 tickets. Now, not every format counts. Currently, they only care about standard, sealed events, and commander for tickets. They've extended it now for specifically for premium stores for the pre-release parties to also contribute tickets. Pre-releases already contribute tickets, but a pre-release party is a more casual sort of thing. It's not the same thing as a pre-release. They're run at the same time as pre-releases, but they're not an identical sort of event. So Wizards is upping the way that these premium LGSs can hit the metrics they need to hit to stay in the premium program. So again, to sum it all up, I am not happy about LGSs going away, but it is the reality. And I am still heartened to a degree to see that Wizards is trying to at least keep the concept of LGSs alive in terms of the premium. I know some people will view it from the perspective of Wizards is abandoning 95%, but it's really a matter of looking at, it's like if you realized you can only save a few of your children, and you look at all your children and go, most of these are goners. And this is an agonizing choice, but I have to choose my kids. Who are we gonna pick? We're gonna pick the healthiest, the strongest, the ones that have the greatest chance of survival. You don't consign those to their fate. You take them and give them a chance at a real future. So while this is the end of the LGS era, this is the end of the paper era of Magic. Now, don't take that to mean they're not making paper cards anymore. They certainly will. And that's going to continue for the foreseeable future. But the paper era of Magic has ended. I am working on a series on that hopefully will explain it in a more understandable fashion, because I know some people don't quite get what I'm saying when I say that. But either way, this has been an interesting Mega Magic news. Let me know what you guys think about the different things I've talked about here down in the comments. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I don't know what that word was. It was a weird bastardization of beginning. So go ahead and subscribe if you want to be around for what I'm doing. Hit it with the like, do the comments. YouTube loves all that. It will show my video to more people, and we'll have more friends coming and hanging out with us. So thanks for coming by, everybody. Appreciate having you here. Big shout out to all my patrons and channel members for supporting the channel. I'm heading off now, and that means I'm history, baby.